The strange creature in the mud. The rain had been falling for hours. Jordan wiped the mud from his hands and stared at the broken transport engine in front of him. The metal hissed as water hit the hot wires. His job was simple: repair the engine, return to camp, and rest. But something didn't feel right. There was a sound. A low growl. Not mechanical, not human, and definitely not from any machine. Jordan froze. The sound came again, closer this time. He looked around. The forest behind him was quiet. Too quiet. No birds, no wind, only the soft splash of mud, and then a movement in the trees. Jordan stepped forward carefully, his boots sinking into the soft earth. He pushed through the tall grass and followed the strange sound. His heart beat faster. He was alone. The others had gone back to the colony. Just him and the storm now. Then he saw it. A huge body, half buried in the mud. It was breathing. Slow, heavy breaths. Each breath sent steam rising from its nose. The creature was covered in thick, dark fur, matted and soaked. One of its legs was twisted badly, blood mixed with rainwater around it. Jordan's first instinct was to back away. This was not a common animal. It was alien, massive, dangerous. But then he saw its eyes. They were glowing, not bright, but soft, like two dim blue lights in the dark, and full of pain. It looked at him, not with anger, not with fear, but with something else. Hope. Jordan stepped closer. "It's okay," he whispered, not even sure why. The creature didn't move. It only blinked slowly. He knelt beside it, careful, not to touch the injured leg. The wound looked deep. Something sharp must have cut through muscle and bone. Jordan pulled out his emergency medkit. His hand shook as he opened it. He had never treated anything like this before. But he couldn't walk away. Not now. He injected a low-dose painkiller. The beast didn't resist. Its breathing slowed. "Just hang in there," Jordan muttered. He wrapped the leg with a gel bandage and used all the cloth he had to stop the bleeding. Rain poured harder, but Jordan stayed. He covered the beast with a tarp to protect it from the cold. Hours passed. Night came. Jordan lit a small fire near the creature, just enough for warmth. He didn't sleep. He watched the beast carefully. At times it whimpered, but it didn't try to attack or run. And then, just before dawn, something strange happened. The beast opened its eyes fully. Its gaze locked onto Jordan. Its lips moved and it spoke. Not loud. Not clear. Just one word. "Hyrule." Jordan's heart jumped. "What did you say?" he asked, leaning closer. But the beast had closed its eyes again. Silence returned. Jordan sat back, confused. That voice. It was deep, ancient, almost musical. But it had used a word that sounded real, like a name. He looked at the creature again. What was this thing? He didn't know yet. But deep inside, he had a feeling. This creature wasn't just lost. It had been left behind, and Jordan had just made a choice that would change everything. The sun had not fully risen. Jordan packed his tools slowly. His clothes were soaked and his back ached from staying up all night. But the fire was still warm, and the large beast, now wrapped in tarps and leaves, was breathing better. Jordan looked at the injured leg. It was still swollen, but the bleeding had stopped. The creature hadn't moved, not even once. Only its eyes had opened, and that one word had been spoken, Hyrule. It echoed in his mind like a whisper he couldn't forget. Jordan didn't know what it meant, but he knew one thing. He couldn't leave the beast here. "All right," he said quietly. "You're coming with me." He called his hover cart and carefully loaded the creature onto it using a lifting rig. It took nearly an hour. The beast was heavy, nearly the size of a small car. Its fur smelled like wet stone and old forest, but it never growled or resisted. It just trusted him. As Jordan entered the outer zone of the human colony, people stared, children pointed, adults stepped back. "What is that?" someone asked. Jordan didn't answer. He brought the beast to his workshop, an old metal garage near the edge of the colony. He laid it on a warm mat, set up heat lamps, and gave it more pain meds. He cleaned the fur as best he could. For hours, he worked. And when he finally stepped back, the creature was asleep again, but peaceful this time. The next morning, things changed. Jordan was welding a part outside when he heard heavy breathing behind him. He turned and froze. The beast was standing, still weak, still limping, but standing. Its large glowing eyes watched him silently. Then, it took one slow step toward him, and another. Jordan backed away nervously. "Hey, easy!" But the beast didn't attack. It didn't roar. It simply walked beside him and stopped, like a dog waiting for its owner. Jordan blinked. "You followed me?" The beast didn't answer, of course, but its body language was clear. It had chosen him. That day, Jordan walked through the colony square. The beast followed him, slow, silent, protective. Everyone stared. The kids who once pointed now hid behind their parents. Some people pulled out weapons. A guard even called HQ Jordan had to raise both hands. "It's not dangerous, it's injured and friendly." The beast made no sound. It just stood beside Jordan like a silent shadow. Later, Jordan returned to his workshop and sat by the fire. The beast lay near him, its head on its massive paws. Jordan studied the creature carefully. There were marks on its fur, not natural ones, patterns. Tiny symbols burned into the skin beneath the hair. He brushed away some fur and saw it clearer. A seal. A royal-looking mark, like an emblem. Jordan had seen something like it once, on the diplomatic documents of high-ranked alien nobles. His stomach twisted. This wasn't just some wild animal, this was something unimportant. That night, as the wind blew hard and the moons hung low in the sky, a strange ship entered the sky above the colony. It was silent, smooth, silver black. It hovered briefly, then left. The colony's sensors were never triggered, but the beast sat up straight. Its nose sniffed the air, its body tensed, and then it let out a deep, rumbling sound. Not a growl, not a cry, more like a warning. Jordan stepped out and looked at the sky. He didn't see anything. But somehow, he knew someone else had seen the beast too, and they were coming for it. The sky turned orange that evening. Jordan stood outside his workshop, wiping oil off his hands. The beast lay behind him in the shadows, breathing calmly. For the first time, the creature looked like it belonged there. But deep inside, Jordan felt uneasy. All day, the creature had been alert. Its ears twitched, its nose sniffed the air. Its glowing eyes watched the horizon like it was expecting something or someone. Then, the silence broke. A strange humming sound filled the sky. Jordan looked up. A dark ship was coming. Not like human ships. This one was smooth, silent, and shaped like a dagger. It didn't land at the spaceport. It dropped down straight toward the edge of the colony, near his workshop. Jordan's chest tightened. The beast growled low, almost like a whisper. Its eyes locked on the ship, not in fear, but in recognition. Within minutes, 3 figures stepped out of the craft. They wore long black armor that shimmered in the fading light. Their skin was pale silver, eyes sharp like blades. They moved, like trained hunters. Jordan backed away slowly. One of them stepped forward. Her voice was smooth, calm, but full of power. "We are here for the Royal Guardian," she said. "You will give it to us now." Jordan's mind raced. "Royal... what?" The leader's eyes narrowed. "The creature you're hiding, it is property of the House of Theria. Our Baroness demands its return." The beast stepped forward. It didn't run. It didn't hide. It stood beside Jordan. The lead alien's face changed slightly. It still protects you? Curious. Jordan took a deep breath. It's injured. It needs care, not a cage. The second agent raised a silver device. Humans should not interfere with royal matters. The third one, taller, with glowing tattoos, spoke for the first time. Stand aside. Jordan didn't move. It has a name. I heard it speak, Hirol. What does that mean? The aliens froze for a moment. Then the leader whispered, You heard that name? From him? Jordan nodded. Now the lead agent's voice lowered. That name was given by the Baroness herself. It is sacred. You should not have heard it. Without warning, the tall alien stepped forward, reaching for the beast. That was a mistake. In one blink, the beast leapt, not away, but toward them, claws out, fangs bare. It slammed into the alien and knocked him into the dirt like a rag doll. The other two agents drew weapons, but the beast stood between them and Jordan, growling loud now, its massive frame ready to fight. Jordan shouted, Stop! You'll make it worse, but no one listened. The air crackled, weapons buzzed, and then the beast did something none of them expected. It raised its head high and let out a long, deep, ancient howl, one that echoed through the sky. The aliens froze. One of them dropped their weapon. The lead agent whispered in shock, That sound! It means he's chosen the human. The tall agent, now standing again with a torn cloak, growled, Impossible. A guardian never bonds with outsiders. But it had. Hirol had chosen Jordan. The leader finally lowered her voice. We will return. But know this, human. If you continue to protect him, the Baroness herself will come. And not all of her will be kind. With that, the agents returned to their ship. It rose into the sky and vanished without a trace. Jordan stood still for a long moment, then turned to the beast. It looked at him with calm, soft eyes. Jordan whispered, What are you, really? He didn't get an answer, but now he knew. This wasn't just a wounded creature, it was royalty. And the galaxy had just noticed that a human had its loyalty. The night after the agents left, Jordan couldn't sleep. He sat by the fire in his workshop, staring at the beast. No, Hirol, as it had been called. Outside, the colony was quiet, but his mind was full of noise. The aliens had said this creature belonged to a baroness. They had called it a royal guardian, and it had chosen him. But why? Jordan stood and walked over to the beast, now sleeping peacefully on thick blankets. Its breathing was deep and calm. For the first time, he noticed something strange around its neck. Beneath the thick fur, a band, metal, almost invisible. Jordan leaned closer. It wasn't just any band. It was a collar. He carefully reached into the fur and felt the smooth, cold surface. There was no clasp, no buckle, just symbols carved into the metal, glowing faintly. He pressed gently. Click, a small piece slid open on the side. Inside was a crystal. And when Jordan touched it, the air shimmered, and a hologram appeared before him. He gasped. It was a woman, tall, regal. Her skin was the color of polished bronze, and her eyes glowed like stars. Her voice echoed gently through the room. To the one who finds this message, I am Baroness Theria of the Tervani Empire. The creature you hold is not a beast, he is my guardian and in my last family. Jordan's mouth went dry. His name is Hirol. He once protected my son. After my child died, Hirol vanished. I believed he went to die alone. But if you have found him, then fate is not done. The Baroness's voice cracked with emotion. Hirol is not just royal property. He is the keeper of my memories, my pain, and my hope. Please, return him to me. If you do, I promise, Your kindness will not go forgotten. The hologram faded. Silence returned. Jordan sat still, heart pounding. He looked at Hyrule, sleeping soundly. So this creature had once protected a royal child. He wasn't just strong. He was loyal, a guardian who had lost his purpose. Until now. The next morning, Jordan stepped outside and walked through the colony square. People stopped him. Whispers followed. That's the guy with the alien beast. Why hasn't he given it back? I heard the Baroness put a bounty on it. Jordan ignored them. He had made up his mind. He had seen the Baroness's face. He had heard her pain. And more importantly, he had seen what this creature had become. Not a weapon, not a prize, but a friend. Back in his workshop, Jordan cleaned the collar and placed the crystal carefully in a small protective case. Hyrule sat beside him, watching quietly. You're not mine, Jordan said softly. But I think you chose me because you needed someone. Hyrule blinked slowly, then moved closer and rested his massive head on Jordan's knee. It wasn't a gesture of weakness. It was trust. Jordan placed a hand on the creature's head. I'll take you home. Just then, a message pinged on Jordan's comm device. It was short, unmarked. Baroness Theria requests your presence. Transport arriving in 1 hour. Come alone. Jordan stared at the screen. His hands shook slightly. He looked at Hyrule. I guess this is it. The beast stood tall. Ready. Exactly 1 hour later, a sleek silver ship landed outside the colony. No weapons, no guards, just an empty seat inside. Jordan climbed in. Hyrule followed. As the doors closed behind them and the Yagaos engines began to rise, Jordan took one last look at the world below. He wasn't sure what waited ahead, but one thing was clear. This wasn't just a return mission. This was the beginning of something much bigger. The stars outside the ship window looked cold and endless. Jordan sat in silence, his hands resting on his lap. Hyrule sat across from him, calm, quiet, and still as a statue. The royal creature's glowing eyes stayed focused on the ship walls, like he already knew where they were going. The ship made no sound. There were no pilots, no crew. Just a smooth voice from the speaker saying, "Arrival in 20 minutes, 20. Jordan looked down at the message again. Baroness Theria requests your presence. That was it. No threats, no demands, just a summon. But Jordan knew this was not a normal meeting. This was royalty. And he, a simple mechanic, was bringing back something more than just a lost pet. When the ship landed, the doors opened into silence. Jordan stepped out first. Hyrule followed, his body tall and majestic even with a slight limp. Guards stood in black and gold armor, forming a pathway, but none raised weapons. They bowed to Hyrule. Jordan's eyes widened. Even the royal guards respected the beast. At the end of the path stood a woman. She wore a flowing silver robe with glowing blue threads that shimmered in the sunlight. Her skin glowed faintly bronze and her hair was braided with strands of crystal. But it was her eyes that held everything. Grief, power, and longing. Baroness Theria. She took a step forward and froze. Her eyes locked on Hyrule. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the Baroness whispered, voice shaking, Hyrule. Is it really you? The beast stepped forward, slowly, gently, and then lowered his head, not in fear, but in recognition. Tears slid down the Baroness's face as she walked to him and touched his fur. Her hands trembled. You disappeared after my son died, she said softly. I thought I lost you too. Hyrule let out a soft, deep sound, a sound full of memory. Jordan stood silently, watching. It felt like he was seeing a reunion between mother and protector, between past and present. Finally, the Baroness turned to Jordan, her eyes studied him carefully. You healed him. You protected him. Even when my agents arrived, you did not hand him over. Jordan nodded. He chose to stay with me. I didn't know who he was, only that he needed someone. The Baroness gave a small smile. You listened to a creature. No one else would understand. That is rare. She motioned toward the palace. Come, there's something you must see. Inside the grand hall, she showed Jordan a giant holographic painting, a moving image frozen in light. It showed a young alien child riding on Hero's back, laughing, with the Baroness watching from a garden. My son, she said softly. Hero was not just his protector, he was his best friend. After the accident, Hero vanished. The bond between them was so deep, he couldn't bear the palace anymore. Jordan glanced at the creature beside him. Now it made sense. Why the beast had been so broken in the mud. Why it had trusted him without words. It had lost everything, and had chosen to try again. The Baroness walked to Jordan. I owe you more than words, so I give you this choice. She raised her hand. A small silver ring floated in the air, glowing faintly. You can return to your world, and I will see you live rich and honored. Or you may stay, not as a servant, but as an honored companion to my house. Jordan blinked. You're offering what exactly? The Baroness smiled gently. Friendship, status, a place beside the one you saved. Many nobles would envy that. Jordan looked at Hero. The beast stepped forward and touched his forehead to Jordan's chest. A quiet, thank you. Without words, Jordan took a deep breath. I didn't do this for reward, but I can't leave him now. The Baroness nodded. Then stay, and let the stars know. A human once saved a royal guardian, not with strength, but with kindness. For 3 days, Jordan lived like someone in a dream. The palace halls were wide and golden. The food was strange but rich. The clothes given to him were stitched with glowing threads. Servants bowed to him, calling him honored one. Yet, none of it impressed him. The only thing that mattered was Hero. The great beast had changed. His wounds were healing. His eyes were brighter. He walked beside Jordan through the royal gardens, silent but calm, like a warrior who had finally found peace. But peace never lasts long. That night, Jordan couldn't sleep. Something felt wrong. He stepped out into the balcony of his guest room. The stars above were still, the gardens below, silent. Then he saw it, shadows moving by the side walls. 3 shapes, fast, silent. Not royal guards. Jordan's heart jumped. He rushed to Hero's chamber. Wake up, he whispered. We're not safe. Hero opened his eyes instantly, ears twitching. Without a word, the beast stood up. Just then, boom, a blast tore through the garden wall. Smoke poured in, flames spread quickly. Red lights flashed. Guards shouted. Screams echoed. And then, they came. Mercenaries in black armor rushed into the palace. Not aliens of honor, but hired hunters. Pirates. Bounty seekers. They were after Hero. Get the creature. One of them yelled. And the human, dead or alive? Hero growled deeply, louder than Jordan had ever heard. His body glowed faintly with strange energy. The air around him shimmered. Jordan backed against the wall as 2 mercenaries aimed. Their weapons at him. Hero charged. He tore through the attackers like a storm, not to kill, but to protect. He blocked the shots meant for Jordan. He knocked down the wall behind them. Go! Jordan shouted. This way! They ran, through smoke, fire, and falling glass. As they reached the outer courtyard, a large enemy ship landed with a crash. Its engines fired up, ready to escape with them as captives. Jordan saw no royal guards, no help. Just chaos. We're not going to make it, he said. But Hero turned to him and bowed. The beast's body began to glow brighter, his chest lit with symbols Jordan had never seen. What are you doing? Jordan asked. Then he realized. Hero was going to shield him, don't. Too late. A blast from a mercenary cannon fired straight at them. Hero leapt into the air and took the full hit. The explosion sent fire and dust everywhere. Jordan was thrown back against a pillar. When he opened his eyes, he saw Hero lying in the courtyard. Smoke rose from his body, not moving, not breathing. Jordan crawled to him, coughing, his hands shaking. No, no, no. Stay with me, he whispered. You're not done. We made it this far. The beast's eyes flickered, once, twice. Then, stillness. Jordan's heart broke. The palace was quiet again. The fires were gone. The walls had been rebuilt, and the stars above Turvan Prime shone brighter than ever before. But something had changed. Not in the sky, not in the stone, but in the hearts of the people. News of the Yo. Attack had spread across the empire. How a human, just a mechanic, stood against mercenaries to protect the Baroness's guardian. How Hero, the legendary beast, had returned from exile, and how both of them had nearly died. To protect each other. Now every noble, every soldier, every citizen in the outer systems was watching. They wanted to see what would happen next. In the grand hall, the golden throne stood high. The Baroness sat upon it, calm, proud, and dressed in a deep royal blue. The hall was full. Alien nobles from every corner of the galaxy stood along the sides. Each wore symbols of their house. Many of them had doubted her. Many had once called Hero just a beast. Now they waited in silence. 2 doors opened. Jordan entered, wearing a simple robe, no armor, no weapons. Hero walked beside him, his steps slower but strong. His wounds had healed, but now a golden mark had been placed on his forehead, given by the Baroness herself. They walked together to the center of the hall, and then something happened no one expected. The Baroness stood from her throne. She stepped down the golden stairs. She walked straight to Jordan, and then she knelt. Gasps filled the room. Nobles whispered in disbelief. A Baroness of the Tervani Empire had knelt before a human. She looked up at him with deep, shining eyes. You gave me back my guardian, my hope, my peace. Jordan opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. The moment was too big, too real, too human. The Baroness stood slowly and held out a small metal symbol. This, she said, is the crest of the Protector. Only 2 in history have received. One was my son. She placed it in Jordan's hand. The other is now you. Hero stepped forward and bowed his head. The nobles did the same. One by one they bowed, not just to Hero, but to Jordan. Not because he was rich, not because he was powerful, but because he did what no title could command. He cared. That night, a feast was held. The sky above the palace was filled with glowing ships and fireworks. Dancers moved through the halls. Songs were sung in languages Jordan couldn't understand, but he felt them in his heart. The Baroness raised a glass during the feast. To the man who saw worth where others saw a beast. To the human who reminded us that loyalty has no species. Cheers rose across the hall. Hero sat beside Jordan, watching it all with quiet joy. Later, as the stars rose higher and the guests began to leave, the Baroness pulled Jordan aside. You still have a choice, she said gently. Stay in my house as part of the court, or return to your world. Jordan looked at Hero, then back at her. I don't know if I belong in a palace. You belong wherever hearts are brave, she said, and you've proven that more than most nobles ever will. Jordan smiled. I'll stay, the Baroness nodded. There's something else, she said. She stepped closer, holding something in her hand, a small silver box. Jordan opened it. Inside was a necklace, simple, but glowing faintly. Give it to him, she said. It means family. He walked over to Hero. The creature lowered his head. Jordan gently placed the necklace around his thick, fur-covered neck. It shimmered for a second, and locked in place. From that day forward, stories were told. Not just of royalty, not just of war, but of a human man and an alien guardian who stood side by side not because of duty, but because of loyalty, love, and something stronger than blood. They became a legend. Together.